Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm Kate Chartner, Chair of the Historic Districts Commission, and welcome to the November 12th, 2025 meeting of the HDC. Tonight, the Commission will review 3 new applications, 1 continued application, and 3 items under other business at the end. We are conducting this meeting online in accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. The public may access this call through both telephone and video conferencing. Members of the public will have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on applications and discussions following the petitioner's presentation and questions from the commissioners. To do so, that is to participate, please raise your hand in the participant function of the Zoom meeting platform. If you are calling in and cannot use the platform, you may raise your hand by dialing *9. Our host will mute microphones of those not speaking, and in order to preserve bandwidth at times may need to turn off the video, with the exception of the commissioners, the host, and the current applicant. I will call on commissioners for comments on an application and then open the meeting for public comment. Once there are no more public comments, I will ask for a motion from the commission to either continue to approve with conditions, or to reject. Ask for a second and then conduct a roll call vote. Once the commission has acted on an application, the applicant is free to leave the meeting. So now we'll do a roll call for all members tonight. Bill Hewitt.
Here.
Tim Whitney.
Here.
Louis Caldarella.
Here.
Walter Clay.
Here.
Dennis Fiore.
Here.
Kristen Dahlman.
Here.
Melinda Shumway. Here. Great. And I'm Kate Chartner. And tonight the voting members will be Tim Whitney, Melinda Shumway, Walter Clay, Bill Hewitt, and me. However, voting members for Concord Art amendments tonight, since we need to have some recusals, will be Melinda Shumway, Walter Clay, Dennis Fiore, Bill Hewitt, and Kristen Dahlman. So without further ado, sorry about the late start. Let's begin. I think Town of Concord is our first presenter. Mimi Graney.
I thought Wade was the first presenter on the agenda.
You thought who was?
The continuance.
Yeah, the continuance.
Oh, the continuance. Sorry. Yes, it is. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. 45 Walden Street, Wade Tang from continuing from before about signage. Is he here tonight?
I see him. He's there.
Oh, you do?
WT at the bottom.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
WT.
yes,
There we go.
hi, yes.
Well spotted.
Nice to meet you all. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Nice to
So
meet you all. Thank you.
sure. Thanks for coming back. And at the last meeting, we had just a couple of concerns about the color of the sign. I remember the
Yes.
size and proportion
Yes.
was fine. And
The
so,
letters, yeah.
and do you have any images you'd like to share with us of where things stand now?
Yes, we do, please.
Great. Okay.
Yes, that's a new image of the sign. So would you all please take a look for the colors and the letters? Is there anything else that we need to fix to please all of you? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your time, everything, and help us out so much.
Well, I hope we're helping. So yes, thank you. I see the dimensions. That's great.
Yeah,
Or I will ask a number of the commissioners who were at the last meeting are also here tonight, so they'll remember this and seeing this before. And so
yes,
I'll see if anyone has any questions for you about the changes.
yes,
Like maybe
thank you
with
so much.
Calderella.
I think I
Thank
live
you,
right across the street, so I will say
Exactly.
it's a huge improvement. I like the color. I like the color blue. Is it a white or a gold font? I can't quite tell.
Yeah, that's a white, my dear. Yes, thank you so much. Yes.
I know it's much, much, much better.
Thank you so much. Sorry for we really have a knowledge about those letters, you know.
Yeah.
So that's why we cost more time and work for all of you. Sorry about that. So we try our best to please all of you.
It's quite all right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Other questions about the
I
lettering?
don't have a question, but I'm happy with this.
Thank you so much.
Good.
We appreciate everything. Thank you.
Are the letters raised at all? Do the letters stick up above the sign at all?
The letters, what you mean?
Yes.
It's take out the sign? What you mean is
Are they
does it-
painted on or are they standing?
For cards?
yes, they mount it on the board, you know. I think the professional, they make the letter and then they mount it inside the board. So it's just like really safe. So they can be come off or anything like that. Yes.
Do you know how much they stick up above the board?
It's just like really flat. You know, it's just like really thin material, you know, like they don't stick out a lot. Yes. It's just like really simple and just like, you know, they don't looking or anything. Yeah.
So they're plastic or vinyl stuck on the sign?
Yes.
So it's not carved or raised?
Yes, because sometimes, you know, if they painting on, you know, that sometimes the rain or something like that,
Mhm.
they can like you know, they're gonna be smear the painting or something like that. So now they have a different type, you know, they make it really good and then they mount it in there. So you know, the time they last is gonna be long time.
I think the previous letters you had, they were actually stuck up above the sign, which is what we would prefer. Not to have them flat, but to have them stick up a bit.
Or
Like
carved.
the previous,
Yeah,
or carved
yeah, they
into the
stick up,
sign.
but yeah, but I don't know like how much they stick out, you know, to explain it to you. But it's just like not flat one, you know, it stick out. Yeah.
So, would you
They
say
make
that
with the acrylic material, you know, so they just can't be flat, you know. Yeah, they raised on that.
so they are raised a little bit. I don't know. Can you see me? I
Yes,
mean, are they
yes,
raised
yes.
about?
A little bit thicker than what you have.
Yeah, thicker, more
Okay, a
thicker.
little,
A little
okay,
bit
all
thicker.
right.
Yes.
More thicker.
More
Yeah.
thicker, a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
like
it's
that. That's
yeah.
correct.
It's-
Little bit
So
more
if you were
thicker.
looking at the
Yes.
sign sideways, you would
Yeah.
see them a little bit. Is that right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
They look
They-
maybe like between 5 millimeter or to 8 millimeter.
because the
Okay.
last time we didn't make it stick out, so this time it's just like different material. So for sure they have to be stick out. Yeah,
Okay,
there is some. Yeah,
because I believe the last sign that
Yeah.
was okay.
Yes,
The way they
yes.
stuck out was good, right? I think
Yes, yeah.
commissioners, didn't we think that? Tim, do you remember that?
Yeah, no, I thought it was subtle,
Yeah.
but it looked good.
Yeah, it's very similar like that. Yeah, but this time it's just way nicer than the last time.
So it may be a 1/4 inch that they're proud of the sign.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know how yeah. like that. Uh-huh.
25.4 millimeters to an inch, right?
Do we have a number on what we consider
No,
raised or
We
not?
don't.
I don't think so, right?
The guidelines are the only phrase is, we like carving or raised.
Well, these are raised. Okay.
Okay,
No-
So it's a quarter, it would be a quarter to a third of an inch raised.
Oh, third of an inch.
Yes,
It gets
yes,
better and
Well,
better.
it's 6 to 8
Yeah.
millimeter.
8 millimeters, a
Yeah,
third of
yeah.
an inch.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
25.4 to
Yeah.
an inch.
Mhm.
very good. Okay,
Yes,
thank
and
you.
yeah. Yeah.
I think then that covers it. It looks like they are raised. No one has any issues with the new colors. The measurements were already in keeping with the sign that was already there. So I'll open it to public comment. If anyone out there, would like to comment on the new Beauty Secret sign. This would be your time, okay. Oh, hi, Mimi. Mimi, are you raising your hand?
Yes, I just wanted to comment that I'm excited that Beauty Secrets is opening in Concord Center. Folks probably know that there's an awful lot of vacant office space.
Mhm.
And we're excited that they'll be bringing in active use to Concord Center. And their sign, as it is, it's tucked in down on the parking lot. So it's not super visible, and it's actually is a higher quality sign than some of the other existing ones along that stretch. So I hope that you will approve their proposed signage.
Excellent.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you
you, Mimi. Thank
for
you
weighing
so
in.
much.
Okay, how about then a motion, please?
I will move, we approve the revised sign specifications at 45 Walden.
I'll second.
So much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
I will ask for a vote. Tim,
Aye.
Walter,
Aye.
Melinda,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and I am an aye. So thank you very much. Your
Thank you very much.
revised sign is passed, and
Oh my
welcome
gosh.
to
Thank
Concord
you.
Center.
We so appreciate all of you tonight. Thank you very, very much. And we
Thank
try
you for-
our best. Yeah, we try our best to
luck.
please the city and everybody.
We're very lucky. Thank you. Thanks for your
Thank
cooperation.
you very much. Yes, thank you.
Okay, good night.
Yeah, thank you. Good night. Thank you, Mimi. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye, dear.
Bye.
Aye.
Bye to all of you.
Thank you. Good night. Okay. Thank you for catching that, Mimi. And now you are up. It's our first new item.
Thank you. I'm going to screen share. When I'm given permission to do so. Okay. So this is a proposal. A donor has come forward to replace the kind of broken down bench that's in Concord Center, in front of the visitor center. So you can see on this Google Street View some folks sitting on it, and you can maybe see that their knees are bent kind of at an unnatural angle, and that is because the bench has kind of sunk into the ground, which is kind of a little hard to tell with the shadows here. I did some research. The original bench had been donated, it looks like, when the visitor center was developed. And it looks like it hasn't been replaced since then. You can see it's sinking into the ground. The wood is all splintered, and it's been pretty bad shape. So a donor has come forward to replace this bench, and the closest I was able to get is a Dumore bench. Let me just show you some other pictures of it, of what it looks like now. The Dumore bench is available on kind of state contract. It complies with all regulations in terms of, benches in the public right of way. So this would be with cast, I believe it's cast aluminum, that's then coated, and then the slat preference, there's different options for the slats. We're proposing a Douglas fir, and then to have a plaque that would be factory installed into one of the slats in the back. And I can give you some additional options, some other kind of details on it. This is what the plaque would look like. So it's actually cast, and the letters are much deeper. On the existing plaque that's on the bench that's there now, it was sort of an etched brass, it looks like, and it's almost impossible to read. That is another option, but again, it ends up not looking quite as good, but either one would be fine. In terms of the options for the wood, was a Douglas fir, I think it's pronounced ipe, and thermally modified oak. This bench is kind of really expensive as it is. So we're proposing the Douglas fir, which is kind of it's still supposed to last about 20 years. And the color options are these ones. We're proposing either a black or a juniper green. That would be a dark kind of unopposing color. And then we've got the specific specs for the bench itself. Since I submitted the proposal, Public Works has stated that they are willing to do the installation and to be in compliance with ADA requirements. The mulch would be removed and a concrete pad would be put in that passageway, basically where this bench is, so that it would keep the bench from sinking in the future. There is possibility that we'll get sufficient funding for a second bench, which we would put just beside it. So this driveway and the visitor center is actually private property, but this little stretch in the middle is town-owned property. So it would be just within the town-owned property section that they would be installed. So I'd be pleased to answer any questions.
I have a question, and that is, I don't understand why you want a Victorian bench there. I don't know why the Victorian bench was approved in the first place. It has nothing to do with Concord Center. We've approved some wonderful benches that you put in before April 19th this year. They're very lovely. Why wouldn't you put one of those in there so it's consistent throughout the town?
I'm wanting to be consistent with what the existing bench is. So I assume that was what's there had been approved previously. So I was just trying to match the existing condition.
Well, I wouldn't have approved it, but maybe others have a different feeling about that.
Well, it's a good point, Dennis. I mean, I always thought that bench looked a little incongruous there, but you can't fault Mimi, for thinking, well, this was approved, this is there, so do we compound the questionable choice in the first place? I don't know.
Mimi, would it be a problem to switch it to the ones that went in as part of Concord 250? To the teak bench?
Those benches kind of don't last quite as long because of the legs on them. We're wanting something that kind of would be a little robust. I'm kind of curious a little bit I recognize sort of wanting benches to all kind of match, but recognizing that there's lots of different historical eras that existed up to now, including sort of the other kind of heydays of Concord Center. So I'm kind of curious a little bit I understand about having consistency, but that particular wooden bench I don't have one of those benches immediately proximate to this to worry about matching.
Everything around it is colonial revival. Even the visitor center to a certain extent. So I don't know where the Victorian's coming from.
We are limited a little bit in terms of what styles are available by, under state contract that comply with state regulations in terms of robust, construction of furniture. So I've got kind of a limited catalog of styles to choose from.
So you're saying the benches you just approved don't meet state regulations because they're not robust enough?
If we wanted to do 100% wood bench, I could go that, but I wanted one that was going to have about a 20-year lifespan.
That's taken.
I think we're getting interference from Mr. Bogosian.
I mean, it sounds like Mimi's going for a replacement in kind of situation. Like she's not really commenting on the style. That's what was there. You know, it's not her fault.
You know, and I wonder if there is a pair there, it might not seem as random in a way. Dennis?
If you say so.
Well, I'm not.
Positing, not saying, positing,
I mean,
If I-
I think,
Only
I think
my
if it-
opinion.
and a good one. I, you know, see what you're saying, but I also think it's reasonable for an applicant to, you know, particularly in this case of the town and the various constrictions Mimi has to work with, and, you know. Sorry, Walter, you were saying something?
First of all, I don't think any of us are impugning you for your choice there, maybe so. But absolutely understood. I will say that my first reaction to this was the same as Dennis's, so I'm very much on that side. It seems to me to be a little bit odd out with everything that we had gone through recently about benches, which leads me to a couple of questions. One is, who donated the original bench? Do we know that?
I did do a little research. I'm not remembering their name at the moment.
Are they still
so
with
it was-
us?
The person, it was in memorial to someone as it was. The person who donated it, looks like he died about 3 years ago. He had been kind of an active person as a tour guide, and written a book, but he's passed on. So I spoke with the town archivist and how this would normally be treated. And what we would do is remove the plaque, and it would be part of the town archive.
Okay, so we're not throwing throwing things out with the bathwater as we're replacing this.
Yeah.
Because that's a concern if somebody is memorialized in a bench and just randomly
Yeah.
somebody else comes along. Okay.
Yeah, there's a
the other-
specific APP guidance on how to treat that.
Okay, and where's the proposed replacement bench made? Is that a USA product?
Made?
Yeah. Where's it come from? I'm just curious. It's not
Okay.
necessarily a deal breaker, but I'm
Let me
always-
see if it's
between delivery time.
I don't think that's
It's
in
a
our
While
long
code.
Mimi
delivery.
looks that up, let's.
Hopefully not China.
Yeah, but
Turn
but more-
attention back
but
to-
the other real question I had was when we approved the benches to be dropped across town for the 250th, they were all located. We don't have spares of those anywhere.
No, and I didn't buy additional of those. I
Okay.
don't.
Right,
because-
and the corollary to that is, would it make sense to take one of those benches and reposition it? I understand you have a donor, and that certainly counts for a lot. But is there a bench somewhere that would match what we have across town recently approved that could go into that position, one or two of them, and be better situated at this point, since we're not necessarily looking at the 250th foot traffic that we were planning for then? Just thought.
Well,
Food for
Yeah,
thought.
well, the 250th benches, the intention was to really foster people walking to and from the different locations and the
Mhm.
Thoreau Depot. So they're still meeting those goals, no matter if
Okay.
we have 1,000 people a day or 20,000 people a day.
Sure.
So, there still is the cost involved in having, part of why, basically the journey I got to this place was, it looked like it was going to be in the mulch, which a wooden bench was not going to be kind of amenable to being in the mulch. So therefore I was looking at going in kind, secured a donor who agreed with kind of matching it. So I've kind of, to get to this proposal, there's been a lot of steps. Since I got that far, then Public Works said that they would be able to actually do a more robust basis for it. So that the bench would be up out of the mulch. We wouldn't risk it sinking into the ground again. And to kind of give you a sense of the lead times for ordering, even for the wooden, I got a donor for a wooden bench in West Concord, which I'm not going to get in hand until March. So even this one has a similar long lead time. So we're sort of trying to, once again, have things in place for April. And I would still need to have approval by the select board for the bench after the HDC. So,
Right, my concern isn't lead time, it's just trying to support.
Well,
um,
hers is,
More local.
and this is the town.
Can
I
can
think,
answer? Sure.
I think we can agree that the Victorian style, might seem a little out of place with the more colonial inspired architecture around it. On the other hand, at least it's not anachronistic in that it's colonial benches around Victorian architecture. I mean, it's a feasible progression. Do any other commissioners have any questions or concerns about the historicity of this?
I do.
I
It's
do,
Bill.
I do too. I mean,
Okay, good.
I think the first one, whether it was approved or not, was a mistake in terms of design. And we shouldn't continue down that road of
Mhm.
design that doesn't work in terms of the history.
Mhm.
And it's our opportunity to correct it now.
It's true.
I have a different concern, and I didn't maybe read the application close enough. I didn't understand there's going to be a concrete pad poured. That's the most ahistoric thing that I've heard on this project. Of any era, they didn't pour concrete to put benches in. And I just wonder, is there not a more subtle solution that provides stability? I've seen benches mounted on little pylons that are 6 inches in diameter, as opposed to pouring a pad. That sticks out like a sore thumb.
Is the pad an ADA issue? I don't know.
I don't know.
yeah, technically it's supposed to be on a hard surface and there's a certain number of inches to the edge of the bench.
Mhm.
Just to kind of show folks again, in terms of kind of anachronistic, it's right now between two strips of asphalt, and up against a concrete wall. So, it's a little bit of mission creep. Public Works did agree to install the single bench and kind of was upping the kind of commitment in terms of making sure it was ADA compliant with the footings, and with the base for people to access it.
Mhm.
I
So
mean,
if we could do more,
just-
it's suddenly that we're improving a bench that's sinking in the ground would be.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with the need to stabilize it and make it safe for anybody. My question is there something a little more imaginative than a concrete pad, which they would not have had in the Victorian era or earlier?
If you
roller
have guidance
sidewalks.
on what's ADA,
I've seen them
Fine.
use pylons, just like on decks. On decks, they're bigger, but you can sink pylons in that are not obvious in the surface. And if you need a lintel, that's probably not the right word, on the front of the bench, I don't know, can you get a scrap of granite or something? But I just it strikes me that putting a 8-foot by 5-foot concrete pad makes it even worse. I frankly care less about the style than the way it's mounted. Just doesn't seem consistent at all with guidelines.
I think also that there's a problem with the mulch, and I wonder if the bench is not sinking, but that the mulch is kind of encroaching the bench itself every year. It's just, and so there needs to be some kind of surface that's not.
Well, I'm not just, I completely agree with the need to stabilize it, make it, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just suggesting there might be a less obtrusive way to do that.
Agreed.
Yeah, 2 6-inch wide, 3-foot long
Yeah.
strips of granite under the
Yeah.
feet rather than a
Which
pad.
you can
that
buy
way.
for not much money.
Hell, might even have them sitting around someplace.
Yeah.
Okay, so, between those two issues, it does not sound like this commission is ready to approve this application.
So
Let
am I
me open-
hearing correctly that the commission is only interested in the wooden benches that match the existing bench? That's the only guideline I've heard so far.
Well, we're not quite there yet. I'm going to open it to public comment and then come back to the commission. So we can give you a firmer idea and then make a, make a motion. But, so any public comment on the, visitor center bench of any sort? Okay, no. So, back to the commission, would someone like to, elucidate where they think we stand, or what Mimi should know going forward?
Well, I can certainly speak for myself and maybe for more than that. As I think maybe everybody understands the problem of the mulch and understands the problem of dealing with ADA compliance. It sounds to me like we're interested in something that is less aggressively modern and concrete-ish to go underneath it. If there's a way that it can be ADA compliant and not be as aggressively modern as concrete seems to be, I think we'd be happier with that. It doesn't have to be granite, but if there's a way to soften that blow a little bit, that's the thing. As far as the Victorian quality of things go, I agree with Dennis. I mean, the picnic tables there are hardly colonial either, so it's sort of a mishmash, but this seems, as Kristen was saying, it's an opportunity to redress some of this and take a step towards something that is more colonial than Victorian, because as Dennis says, the overall aesthetic there is neo-colonial or colonial rather than Victorian. It's not that Victorian doesn't fall on the timeline closer to where we are now from colonial, but it would be the only time that timeline stops with a nod to Victorianism in that time frame. So I'm not committed by any stretch to having exactly the same wood bench there, but I think that something that resonates more with that wood bench aesthetic that we've established across town after a bit of discussion would be preferable for at least for me, and I assume for most of us, if not all of us. How's that?
Thank you, Walter. Does anyone have anything to add to what Walter had to say?
No?
Yeah, I'd just like to say it's can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
I just think you need to look a little further, and it's you're not really in a rush, and I think you can find a better way to put it in, but I also think you've got plenty of time to do some more just looking around. I mean, it's not in the ground yet, so why not just make it look as best as it can look for that location?
Okay, so we can continue this till the next meeting. Would that be preferable? All right.
Yeah,
So,
I will check with the donor and find out some alternatives.
thanks. Okay, so could I have a motion, please?
I'll move that we continue 58 and 7B Main Street bench and pad to the next meeting.
Second,
Second.
thank you. And vote Walter,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
Melinda,
Aye.
and I am an aye. So I hope we've cleared up any confusion for next time. And thank you for being so thorough about this and explaining it so clearly.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Good night. Okay, moving on to the Walters property at 167 Monument Street.
Yes,
So Kate-
hello.
Oh, there you are. Hi.
Oh, I'm right
That's-
here.
Okay.
Sorry,
Yes, Mary Ellen Walters.
Oh, wait, hold on one
167.
sec. Anne?
Kate, sorry, I was just going to suggest that you take an item out of order since Mimi is here from the town of Concord, also for other business.
Oh,
We
okay,
did an
that's right.
extension on the temporary art
the-
installation.
Yes, okay.
That one should be quick, I would think.
Yes, sorry, Mary Ellen, that was
Okay.
my fumble, another one. That's right, since Mimi is already here from the town, there's another just extension request.
just
Thanks,
wait.
Anne. Thank you. Okay, this is about the temporary art installation at 12 Main Street.
Yes. So the HDC had been approving the Freedom Silhouette art benches that are in Monument Square.
Mhm.
Those are the two oak benches facing one another with the silhouettes of the two figures. The two figures are right now in my office needing some repairs, and my goal is to put them back in place. I'm hoping to have them moved by March. I need to kind of finalize the agreements for the transfer for them to a new site. So seeking permission to just leave them on site until spring, till March. They'll be out by Patriots Day of this year, of 26.
Oh, they're coming out this year. I guess that's, yeah.
Yeah, so they become, this will be my last request for a renewal for permission. They'll be moving to their new home.
Oh, okay. All right, great. Okay, thank you.
Which is at the visitor center?
Well, they've got the figures on them, but actually that's not a bad idea if folks are okay with the moving to the visitor center.
Let's not go
Just a
there.
thought.
They're on Victorian benches.
Exactly.
Just a
There, I
thought.
thought Victorian benches were okay.
I know. Okay, do we proceed normally with this motion and second and vote?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, could I have a motion to extend the Freedom Silhouette certificate?
Can I ask one question?
Okay,
Mimi, is the figures you're repairing are gonna go back on the benches, right?
Yeah, the existing figures, the film was peeling and some screws
Yeah.
got, so I'll be fixing those and putting them on the existing ones. I've got another set of figures, so when they move elsewhere, I'll be able to put new ones there. I didn't want to put the kind of the best ones out for the winter, harsh weather.
good point.
But everything disappears in, what is it? March or April?
Right. Yeah, my
Patriots Day.
goal is to have it out by Patriots Day. It'll be a little weather dependent and when the
Okay, thank
contractors
you.
are available.
Any other questions, anyone?
Nope.
Okay, could I have a motion to extend this certificate?
I move that we extend the certificate.
I second.
Thank you. And vote Tim, Bill,
Aye.
Walter,
Aye.
and Melinda.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. So thank you for bringing that up, Mimi.
Thank you.
Okay, good night. Okay, Mary Ellen Walters, back to you. And 167 Monument Street.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm here for approval for the Ranch House custom wood doors. I chose a trifold door in a very simple design because the architecture of my house is very simple. And so I looked for a door that was simple with panes that I thought would coordinate with the window panes on my home. I've been in my home for 25 years now, and I have the doors that were here when I bought the house. And they have the oversized, I think they're probably mid-century modern. I'm guessing they definitely don't go with my house, but we were always just too busy to replace them. So now it's time. And I want them to, kind of seamlessly blend in with my home.
So I chose to keep, you can see the old, well, there's the new design, but the old doors have the oversized pane, which I really never liked, to be honest. And so I wanted a smaller pane, but something that I thought was in proportion to the house. And so I can give you the window panes on the house as well. But the panes on the door are 6 3/4 by 9 1/2. Now, the window panes on the mudroom, which is adjacent to the garage, those are 9 by 10. So I thought that I like the size of these panes, and I want to keep the doors in the same trim color because I think, again, I think they blend seamlessly with the rest of the house. So I don't know if you have any questions. I think the design shows all of the dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
I did, on my application, I spoke to a carpenter since I turned in the application. And there were 3 options. 2 of them don't matter. B is the inside part of the door. That doesn't matter. Turns out the tongue and groove options, you don't see them because the tongue and groove is inside the wood, which I didn't know when I sent in my application. But the wood texture, I would like to go with smooth. The doors are smooth. My home has a rustic, you know, the wood is a rustic type of wood. In fact, when we did the addition, John Pierce, who is the contractor, he turned the wood over. He was trying to match the original house. And so he turned the wood over to the rough side, and then he used boat nails to make it look like the original house. And so, you know, so the garage has rustic wood. The house has a rustic wood, but the current garage doors are in a smooth wood. All the trim is in smooth wood. And so I think in order to have that nice contrast, I think the smooth wood would be the best way to go.
Okay. Let's see. All right, this is the garage doors, and it says add weather vane and hitching post. Did you?
All right, well, those are 2 other items on my list. So I don't know whether you want to look at if you want to look at everything all at once, that's fine.
I think that's normally what we do.
Okay, I didn't realize. Okay.
That's okay.
So, well, the horse weather vane, I did, not a history buff, but I did a little bit of research on my house. And I think it's the most similar to Colonel James Barrett's house, although my house is a much simpler, humbler version. I would guess, you know, it's not an antique. I mean, it was built in 1941, so it's just a reproduction. But I think if it were an antique, I would assume that it would probably have been built around the same time, around 1705, but it was just a humbler version, maybe like a farmhouse. And I think the garage would have been maybe a little barn. I've seen that in colonial homes around that time. Now, weather vanes, they were made in America first in Boston by Shem Drown, 1683 to 1774. And the running horse was one of the most popular. And so I thought that if a farmer did own this house, if it were an antique, that probably they would have a weather vane because that's what farmers used at that time. So I don't know, I've always liked weather vanes. And so I thought, I'm here anyway, so I might as well ask for what I want.
You're right.
Right.
Okay.
And I did, on that weather vane, let me just find that piece of paper here. Oh, I have it right here. So I have the Copper House antique brass lighting. So I think if you do approve this, I think it should also be in the copper in the antique brass finish. Now, I think the simplest version of it would be good. And so I don't think a cupola really would look great on my house. You see them everywhere in Carlisle, but definitely not on my house. And so they have the standard mounts. So this is a standard size, and they have some standard mounts. I would need some suggestions. They have upgrades. I go with all the upgrades, you know, so the weather vane doesn't blow off in, you know, in 100-mile-per-hour winds. So they do have some upgrades, and I looked at all of those. But I would like, if you do think would be a good choice for my house, I would like some advice on the standard mounts, because there are a few choices, and I, you know, I think that I would need some help figuring that out. I definitely wouldn't be up there on the roof putting it on myself, but I would like some advice as to which mount would be the best choice. And then
And I'm
the
sorry,
hitching-
before we move on to the next one, did I miss where you would want to put your weather vane?
Well, when I
specifically?
looked at, I did, you know, again, I looked at weather vanes in the colonial period, and they were popular in New England. But the ones that I saw that were like really antique, on antique barns, for example, they just had these black mounts, and they didn't have the cupola. And some of them, again, I could use advice on this, but some of them were placed like between, you know, like about halfway up on the roof, and others were put at the very like peak of the roof. I think this would look best on the peak of the roof. That would be my preference.
On the
Of the
garage?
On the
Yeah.
garage, yes. Oh,
Okay.
not on my house.
Okay, good. All right. I should have just
No,
come
no,
out and asked it that
No,
way.
no, we're sticking with the garage right now. No, no, no.
Okay. Okay, good. All right, thank you. And then moving on to the other item.
Yes, now the hitching post, actually, there was an antique hitching post when I bought, well, Eric and I, when we bought our house in 1999. And it was like this. It was 5 feet high, rough edges, had the ring, about 6 inches wide. And I mean, I thought it was incredibly charming. And the man who built the house, he worked for the town, and obviously he loved colonial antique things. I actually have a centennial, I think it's a horse trough, that says 1875 in my backyard, and I just put flowers in there in the summer. But he also had the hitching post. But we hadn't expanded the garage, so it was very narrow, and I had to back out. And my children were, you know, in middle school. And when I would be backing out in the morning, that darn hitching post, I mean, it was right on the driveway. And I had a white Town and Country, you know, 7-seater van, so I could pick up all the kids. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I was a soccer mom. But the problem was that I'm not a morning person. So I hit that hitching post all the time. My husband was always, you know, putting the white paint on it, fixing it afterwards every time I hit it. But finally I scraped off the whole side, and it was a new van, the whole side of the van, and it had to go to be repaired. And John Pierce at the time was doing the renovation on our home, and he brought me out to look at it, and he said, you know, this is really broken, and it could fall right off and hit you right on the foot. And so at that point, we did take it out. So the hitching post, actually, it didn't even last a year after we bought the house. But again, I'm here tonight, and it was nice, and I thought it really, you know, added to the house when I had it. Now I've expanded the driveway, but I'm still not a morning person. And so I would suggest that it be moved in, especially since the plow comes through and they can actually take up a couple of feet. I put out the reflectors so that they don't go right into the, you know, to the grass, but still they typically do. So I would put it in, I would suggest like 3 feet to keep it safe. And I did have the gas line checked, and that runs 6 feet in. So I had plenty of room. And I would suggest that Acton Monument build it. They have done work for us in the past. They do beautiful work. And I think, I mean, it's a very simple design. Again, the one that you see here is actually 7 feet. I just took it's not Acton Monument. I just wanted to give you a visual. But 7 feet would be way too tall. I mean,
Big
the one,
horse.
Oh, okay.
yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I think it would, and also there's the HDC has some viewpoints on adding hitching posts, which
Oh, okay.
so let's
You
so
wanna
thank you for running through all
Test
that.
vote that right now?
Sorry, Walter?
You want to test vote that right now? Test
n-
vote pitching post?
No, let's just go
Oh,
back.
okay.
Let's just
Yeah.
vote on the whole thing. So it's because it's really not that much. So we'll go back to the doors, which are the main thing. I mean
Yes.
that you have to do.
Yes.
And if you could bring up the picture of the doors again. So could you tell us again how they're varying from what's there now?
Well,
Just
if you look
just
at,
a quick,
if you look at
just kind of
the,
a quick list.
well, if you look at the current garage doors, they're really,
Sorry, do we have, there we go.
yeah,
Okay,
you can
great.
see they have the oversized pane. They're fourfold. They have the oversized pane. And when I looked at the other ranch house doors, this type of door is actually mid-century modern, which is definitely not what my house is. But they were on the house, and again, I never liked them, but you know, we were just focused on other things.
Okay,
But
so you
now-
like the ones, the ones that you're showing us, you like because you feel they're more compatible with
Definitely.
the
Yes, and
house.
there are some beautiful carriage house doors. But I think when I started looking at all the ranch house doors, oh, I love many of them. But I thought for the most part they were like too fancy for my house. So I
Okay.
actually looked for the simplest design. And because I wanted it to be very simple. And the garage, you know, I just wanted to blend in seamlessly. And the brown paint, you know, it's not an exciting color, let's face it, but it does go with the rest of the house. And so I'd like the doors to blend in seamlessly, but I'd like a little bit of glass for interest. And what I like about these doors is that they're simple and that I think that they will complement the house. And I
Okay.
do like the size of the window panes.
Okay, well, I'm now going to ask the commissioners for their reactions to that. So thank you for filling us in on all of that with all the details. And commissioners, the garage doors.
What material? Is that
Wood.
They're
wood anyone?
they're red cedar. Let me see where it is. I have it.
So they're wood, not fiberglass.
Oh, no, they
Yeah, they're
definitely,
wood.
these are the top of the line ranch house doors. They're
Okay.
custom wood, wood doors, and they're in, I think it's northern red cedar. I know it's in the information. Let me see. I have it on, I
Yeah,
did
Western
include
red cedar.
that
Okay.
in the application, so let me.
There's red
Western
cedar on the application.
There we go. Yep.
Western red cedar. That's
Four square
good.
design. Great. Okay.
Right.
So they're wood. Anyone else? Bill, you're always good at this sort of stuff. Any thoughts?
I think they look terrific.
Great. Thank you. Sorry to put you on the spot, but you know, sometimes you gotta go, you know, with where you know, you're gonna get some feedback.
I think
Anyone else on the doors?
I think they look great too, but I'm just curious, Marilyn, isn't your house creosote? Is it painted or is it creosote?
It was that, boy, you have a good memory. I've been in front of the HDC a few times for additions. It was originally had creosote on it to make it the original house, and then we put in a few additions. The mudroom is a new addition, and we connected the garage to the to the main house. So it did have the creosote on it. But what happened over time, and all we did was put on oh, we didn't put on any stain or anything on it. All we did was put on, I remember, linseed oil. So every year we would have or every few years, we would just put the linseed oil on the main house. But on the addition, we actually had the stain. But what happened, about 3 years ago, is that when the creosote was put on, and I was at the Cape because that is, it really is, I mean, the odor is very strong. You really don't want to be in the house. But what happened was that the painter, because the main house, I mean, it's like 84 years old now. So the main house, it had problems and they had to sand it. So what happened was when I came
Okay,
home.
actually, so hold on, Mary Ellen, if you don't mind, I just want to, unless that sanding has to do with how you would treat the new doors. I don't want the commissioners
Okay.
to lose too much track of the information you've given
Okay.
us that pertains to the application.
All right.
Victoria,
That's okay. I've had to update the house. I'm sorry. I was going into a lot of detail, but
My fault. It's my fault for bringing it up.
No, it's, I did not know any of that, so thank you. Okay, so
It's a
doors,
painted door
yeah, painted wood door.
to match, and she's proposing it smooth as opposed to the Rossand siding, which I think is correct, because this is
Yeah.
trim, really.
Yep.
And I agree with Bill. I think it looks fine, and I think I have comments on the other two items, but I think the door is totally fine.
I would
Great,
agree. I
okay.
think the door is fine.
I'm
Good.
fine with doors.
Okay, now moving on to the weather vane and to the hitching post. Those are in a different sort of category, Mary Ellen. So pretty consistently, the Historic District Commission does not encourage adding these sort of faux historical elements, creating a historical narrative that wasn't there. Because which might not sound like much, but for instance, adding a hitching post outside your 1940s house might sort of indicate, normally you would see that in front of something that maybe had historically been a tavern where one would have actually hitched horses and gone in or whatever else. So it's something that, sounds maybe hair splitting, but we kind of do need to be mindful, particularly in a town like Concord, of introducing the incorrect contexts to sites and buildings. I think the hitching post, unfortunately, definitely would fall under that category. We do get requests for them from time to time. And I can't think of when we've approved one. I could be wrong, and I'll ask the other commissioners. And then with the weather vane, I actually do not recall getting a request for a weather vane in 11 years, but I could be wrong there too. And that would generally also fall under the same category, I think. And I will ask Dennis about that, for instance. Weather vane on a garage, I don't think.
I don't remember any requests for weather vanes, but not to make this too confusing, but she mentioned Shem Drone, who's the famous weather vane maker in the late 17th, early 18th century. But there were none on private dwellings. The closest they came is the Indian weather vane now at Mass Historical, which is, I guess you call it indigenous today, but anyway, it was called Indian weather vane, which was on the the governor's mansion. That's the closest we got to this. Drone, if she's looking for the period, how this house to be of that period, they were the racing horse. If we go down that route, is all late 19th century. That doesn't even fit in with the house, even if we thought the weather vane was okay. They were grasshoppers, like on the top of Faneuil Hall, or there were banners in the top of Old North, that sort of thing. So, from that standpoint, it has no authenticity, even if we thought it was a good idea, which I don't think it is. And I don't remember us ever approving a weather vane.
Yeah. Tim?
I just want to add, I've always admired that house. Actually, I know it's a reproduction, but it's a very simple, beautiful reproduction, and it's a nice color. And personally, I think the strength of that is because there isn't a lot of decoration, such as weather vanes and posts. So I think that the house would be better off just being what it is, because you're fixing up the garage doors, which is a great help to that. But there's a simplicity to your structures, which is great. And as you add stuff, it might actually start to detract. And I also agree with all of Kate and Dennis's comments.
Well, I appreciate the feedback. And the good news is I don't have a horse and I'm not farming. So, but I do need the garage doors. So, so I can live with your decisions. I appreciate the feedback.
You're welcome.
Also, just to augment what Tim said, earlier you said sort of jokingly like, oh, my house is a very plain brown, simple brown. But in fact, similar, in that vein of Tim, I always find it very striking when I drive down Monument Street and see that color, because it's really the only one like it. And it has this sort of great, sort of earnest simplicity to it. That's really, really quite nice.
And I'll chime in also saying, I agree. I think the house fits in nicely.
Yeah, no, it really looks great.
Oh, I'll
That's
second
the
and
property
triple all
also.
that too.
So let's see, let me open it to public comment. If there is anyone in our audience who has any questions, thoughts, or comments on 167 Monument Street? There is not. So I'll bring it back to the commission and ask for a motion, please.
I'll move we approve the garage door portion of the submission for 136 Monument Street.
And may I have a second?
167.
I'm sorry, 167, my mistake.
167. Second?
Yeah.
Lois, okay. And I'll go around to a vote. Melinda,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
Walter,
Just to be clear, this is approving the garage doors and not
Just the
approving
garage doors.
weather vane and hitching post, just so that's on the record. Yes, aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and I am an aye. So thank you very much for your thorough application and narrative, Mary Ellen, and your, I think your garage doors are gonna look great in
Oh,
place of
thank
what you
you.
got.
I'm very happy about it. Thank you so much for all your help.
Thanks for
Okay,
doing
thank
all
you.
the homework.
Yeah, exactly. It was enjoyable. Okay, thank you. Good night.
Good night.
You're welcome to stay, but you don't have to.
Thank you.
Sure. Now barreling on to 363 Main Street. I know Will Adams is there. Hello.
Hello, Kate. Can you hear me?
I can, loud and clear. Ish.
Terrific. Hi, everybody. I'm Will Adams. I'm the owner at 363 Main Street. I have met with most of you before. The last time, I want to say it was early last spring, for the approval of a fence across the front of our property, which we since have put in, and we're really very happy with it. So thank you for that.
Great.
I am going to screen share something here. Can you see that?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Let me know when
But
it comes
now, yeah.
through. You can. Okay. Well, there's the fence. You can see it. That fence, since the time of this proposal, I have finally painted. The wood needed to cure for 6 or 9 months before being painted, and so it is now white, and it looks lovely as it was meant to be in the application. So again, thank you for that. I'm before you today because we're working on this carriage house here. This carriage house sits to the left of our home as viewed from the street. And we're doing some work on the inside of the carriage house to make it livable. We're going to put an office space upstairs and a guest room upstairs. None of that impacts the look and feel of the carriage house. Specifically, what we're looking for your support in is 3 things. The first is the replacement of the 2 ground floor windows that you see here. The second is the replacement of what I call the hayloft doors that sit right above the black garage door. And we would like to replace that with a window in that very style. And then the third thing is the addition of a lean-to roof to make, I think what we called a carport in the application off the left side of the building. And I can talk through each one of those, and maybe starting with the windows. The windows are these are simply old windows that are really in disrepair. They're very drafty, and the hardware is breaking off them, and they're just in very bad shape. Because we're fixing up the inside of the house, we want to replace the windows. We're going to replace them in exactly this same style. I've gone to Adam, I wish I knew his last name, at Concord Lumber, and worked with Kevin O'Brien, who's the designer who helped us in the work on the house. He's been before your commission on our behalf before. They have said that Anderson makes a window called the Woodwright window, which Adam has sold to many Concord residents and has been approved by the Historical Commission for uses like this. It's an all-wood window and can be designed in exactly the same style as the ones on the ground floor there. Trim will all stay the same. Everything stays the same, just new windows. Moving up to the second floor, the hayloft. The hayloft would be replaced by a window, and I actually have an image I'll show you in a moment. But imagine the green wooden paneling of what you see right now simply being replaced by glass. So again, Anderson Woodwright makes a window. I'm forgetting the name of this particular kind of window with an arch in the top. Would fit exactly into that space. Trim, molding, all stays exactly the same. White in color, simply glass in replacement of the green wood there. And then moving over to the carport, and I'll move over to an image that shows you this in a moment. As you can see in our driveway, 3 cars right now. We now have 3 drivers. My oldest child being 16 and a half. We have another one coming along who will be becoming a driver in the next 12 months. Already, the driveway is crowded. When we have guests over, it gets even more crowded. And frankly, we just don't think it looks very good either to be able to park a car along the side of the garage and then frankly put another one in behind it will relieve our congestion, and we think just make everything look better as well. And so let me just switch over to well, let me ask any questions about this particular picture before I switch to another. That's a close-up, and that's an image of the side of the carriage house where the proposed lean-to section would go. And if you see these cinder blocks that I've piled right here, those are just to give you a visual representation. That's where the posts would be. And then the roof would come across like this. And let me show you a different image that'll bring that to life a little bit more. Please let me know when you can see this one.
Got it.
Okay, thank you. In the upper left, that's just a close-up of the carriage house, of course. This is a close-up of the style of window, the Anderson Woodwright window that would go into replace what I call the hayloft there. Again, painted in white to match. And then down below here in the lower left, this gives you a sense for the dimensions of what we propose to add on the left-hand side there. The posts and the corbels would be built to match what exists on the front porch of our house, the image in the middle of the page on the right-hand side. So it would be architecturally consistent. And then from the side, which of course you couldn't see from the street, but from the side in the lower left, you get a sense for how it fits in from the side of the building. So the roof matches. I'm not sure what you call that, but the little roof piece that extends out over the window on the back there. There, I've done a lot of talking. What?
You're supposed
what-
to talk.
All right.
This is your hour. Yeah. Well, not hour.
What,
This is your
what
moment.
questions? What questions can I answer?
Okay, can we see, I'm interested in the proportion of the carport roof to the facade of the building, or in that, it looks like it could be potential, it's at least a third, the width again.
I'd say it's approximately a third. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It is sized, I'll tell you. It's remembering correctly, I think that's 170 inches wide, the proposed carport. That is sized to take our largest car and open both doors and allow both to be totally wide open, right, and fully undercover. That at max, that's how much we would need. We could go a little bit smaller, but I think that would be the ideal size. And frankly, you know, as we drew it up, and as Kevin O'Brien drew it up, we thought that actually looks pretty good. So that's what we went with.
And how far back from the facade of the
Ah,
building?
good question. Yeah, it starts 3 feet back roughly.
Okay,
You can see that in the lower right-hand corner.
yeah.
So it is offset, and that was important. We looked at that pretty carefully and didn't think it looked very good if it was flush. So it is offset, but then it's also, you know, it's centered on that section of building. You can see the back edge is offset versus that edge as well.
I have a question about the windows. Is it the original glass? Are they the original windows from the 19th century?
I cannot answer that. I don't even know when the carriage house was built. I presume it was built at the same time as the house was. I don't know that for sure. The house was built in the late 1850s, I think. Those windows, by looking at them, I doubt that they are original, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah. You could usually
I do know they're not very functional, but
no. You could usually tell by the glass if it's sort of wavy and rippled and bubbly.
it doesn't. I know the look you're talking about. It doesn't have that look.
Well, it doesn't mean that the windows, because the glass could have been replaced, the panes replaced, and the window frames and everything else still could be 100 years older. That doesn't really tell you.
It may be.
So,
Are the windows themselves rotted, or are they damaged in any way, or just old?
I'd say a little bit of each. They are certainly loose in the frames. The wood's not in great condition. They're not, I wouldn't say they're fully rotted, but they're not solid.
And how is the first floor there being used currently, or proposed to be used?
Well, right now it's purely just an empty garage space. It's not.
So
it's got garden tools
at the moment. Yeah.
And bicycles. Yeah. That's right.
Well, I'm just asking in terms of the quality of the windows that are there and whether they're whether it's as necessary to have them as airtight as it would be.
Well, go forward, looking at that upper left-hand corner, from the garage door to the left will remain a garage. It's a one-car garage because you can only, with the door the way it is, you can only get one car into it. We'd love for that to be a two-car garage, but you couldn't do that without significantly changing the architectural detail, and we don't want to do that. So it'll remain a one-car garage.
Sure.
Which is to say the window on the left-hand side doesn't matter so much to us because the garage itself doesn't need to be conditioned. But the window on the right-hand side, we do intend to fix that room up. We'd like to make a little gym out of it for the family. And so we want, we want to be able to condition the air in there and warm it up. And with that window the way it is today, you wouldn't want to do that.
Okay. And a corollary question here, the window / door, whatever that you see looking through the carport in the lower right there, that's a window?
That is a window, yes. Correct.
So it's not, you're talking about having the doors, enough space to open the doors on both sides of the car. It's not to allow you to have covered access into the garage there through a door.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah, there is no access there. Those are just windows. And those are also very old windows.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking that is that it looks, the proposed carport to me looks awkward in its proportion, the way it's sitting against how the rest of that carriage house is raised. So I'm wondering if it doesn't even make more sense to have it be a freestanding structure rather than a lean-to. If it were for access, contiguous access into that building from the side, I would understand it better, why it would be set that way.
The need we have is for parking. I think that
keeping the snow off as much as anything.
Yeah, ideally. And honestly, there's a very big maple there as well, which would preclude you from wanting to park anything without some protection because you have branches falling and all that sort of thing. I think also that if you go, I showed you an image of the side there. I think that we'd likely fill that area a little bit and bring that level that you're looking at up a little bit, but probably not quite to the level that you enter the garage at, if that makes sense.
It does.
So I'll air a concern of mine and see what other commissioners think of it. This little building is oddly, in a good way, rather visible, notable where it is. And it's the kind of structure, I think, when you drive through historic districts, your eyes alight on and think, like that's really kind of very attractive. That's very charming. It's, and it's an interesting complement to your house. And so my concern is that I feel that the carport, and I get its practical applications, really alters the visual comprehension of this small, finely proportioned structure that is so symmetrical. And I can't keep looking at the picture to sort of get a grip on it, but it does visually alter the structure quite a bit. And I'm be interested to hear what other commissioners have to say about that.
I would completely agree, Kate. I think, again, appreciating the need for covered parking, but this carriage house, I'm sure as the owner knows, it's a total gem. And not many of these are left in Concord. And what we're seeing is a carport stuck on a gem. And I know there's been some effort of maybe some detailing, but it's a very awkward addition. And I would have a really hard time proving this in any shape and form the way it is now. To even put any addition on this building is an architectural trick for anybody and not have the building become worse. So the windows and all that, those are up for a little bit of debate, but I think the carport is in my mind, very problematic.
May I ask, how then do you reconcile what looks like a parking lot many hours of the day, which obscures this carriage house, with that concern? Because I understand what you're saying, but I think when you put those two things together, I don't.
Well, when you park a car
everything.
into that, if you put a car,
I think. So go ahead, please.
No, I don't want to interrupt. Go ahead. I'm saying the carport isn't going to hide a car. It's just going to, the car is still going to be visible from the street. It's an open carport, so there's no. You can pave that area and park a car there and have the same distribution of cars. I'm really talking about the roof on it. The numbers of cars is every house has a dilemma of numbers of cars that they have to deal with. But how is the carport concealing cars?
Because you're going to put one in it and you're going to put another one behind it. It will indeed conceal the car.
You can do that without a roof.
Yeah, you can.
You don't have a roof if they're just as visible.
You could do that without a roof. It's just not. It's not a practical parking place. I'm gonna incur a lot of car damage. I also would ask you to consider that what you're looking at in this image, and maybe we should have, spent more work on it. But it's there's a block of white there. Of course, that's not what you're going to see. You're going to see right through, as you would right now, to the trees behind and the fence behind and all that sort of thing.
With the danger of sounding flip, I see a car when I look at it. So,
well,
yeah, I understand what you're saying.
You can't even see the space right now because there are 2 or 3 cars blocking it. Well, look,
cars are movable. They move around. They're on the lot. They're not on the lot. Everybody has them. I would agree. I find this lean-to just awkward. Well,
it's a mid-century design tacked onto a kind of sweet Victorian-esque carport. I think that's kind of what's bothering a lot of us, that it's 2 vastly different designs.
Well, back to what I was starting this with, to me, it's the visual attachment of that to the carriage house here. Is there, I don't know how much space you have, but what I said before, it could be perhaps better to be a freestanding carport, even if it were 2 feet off the side of the carriage house. It might be enough of a visual disruption of that line so it wouldn't read as being tacked on, would still give you the protection that you were looking for. Be a little more complex in terms of supporting the roof, I suppose, but that might
property line.
I certainly appreciate the creative idea there. I guess before I went and did work on that, I'd be curious to others' reactions to that. I give you my reaction without doing the work to draw it up. That in a way feels even more awkward to me. But that's just my view. I think somebody asked about property line. We have, I think, ample room, even from the edge of what we've drawn here. There's an additional, I believe, 13 to 14 feet to the left before you hit the fence.
I think, Will, was the first picture, did it also show that tree to the left?
Yes.
Anne, could you pull up the first slide again?
Here, I can. Would you like me to do it?
Oh, that's right. You were doing it anyway,
Sure.
right? Yeah. I think that, we could see more of the driveway, I think, and the tree that you were talking about.
So there's the tree. And then it's got a little hard to tell here, but you
Yep.
got about another 6 feet to the left of the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And that's at the tightest point.
Mm-hmm.
This fence is going away from you as it moves towards Main Street. So by the front here, you've got, I mean, another 20 or 25 feet. It's very wide there.
Do you have a plot plan?
Not here, I don't.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
How do you have a lot of space behind the carriage house?
We do have space, yeah.
Because it seems like you can build a 2-car garage behind that and not even ask permission.
It's true.
There's another building back. I mean, there's an extension of this building back
There
there.
is.
Right.
Yeah, there is an extension of the building, but that's an interesting thought. I never even thought about. It would not be convenient to go park a car back there, but you could fit one.
Yeah,
Yeah, would it be hidden?
it wouldn't affect the look of the carriage house at all, and it would get rid of a lot of cars for you. And give you 2 cars in covered, you know.
Well, there would not be. Well, there is a section of the building that's back there already. You'd have to repurpose that and build something different. And I'm not sure there's actually the space to get in there and make that turn. But
Anyway,
but possible, yeah.
This is Bill. Maybe two thoughts, one on the carport and one on the hay loft doors. I was just listening to the discussion. This may not be helpful, but the era when this house was built, I think, was also an era when you saw, if you look at old Concord photographs, I'll call them fairgrounds pavilions that often had cast iron posts and were used in picnics and things like that, and fairground sorts of things. And while I agree with your point, Will, that a self-standing one is maybe awkward in its own way, I wonder if there's a historic analog looking at what people used as pavilions in fairgrounds and things like that in Concord. On the hayloft doors, I confess I would see it as a real it takes something away from the historic character of the building. I think if this is my own view, if we were to approve it, I think we would want to ask that the proportions be precisely what they are today. The Anderson window has significantly more window area than the hayloft green panel. And I think preserving that exact proportion, that's a unique look, that hay door. And replacing it with a standardized window opening, I think just makes the loss even greater.
I agree with Bill on we haven't really gotten to the hayloft doors and window issue yet.
I think you also have I think the problem, Will, is that the building is so good. Everybody really loves it so much. They don't want to see it changed very much. So I think
I'm so sorry. Go ahead, Louis.
Oh, but the guiding principle is, how do you really preserve it in its entirety and make it really usable? So, for example, those hayloft doors are probably the original doors. So they're kind of important, you know, historically. But what if you could open them and have a window behind them so you don't mess with them at all, but you get your light? Do you know what I mean? Like, is there a way that you can preserve the integrity of the structure and make it useful at the same time? You know?
They do open out. We thought about that. We simply thought that it would look, well, let me just say, I think that I really appreciate the work this commission does, and I would also just ask you to remember that nobody cares more about how this property looks than me. and my family. We're working really hard we've invested a lot of money in improving the property and making it look an awful lot better.
Sure.
This is an almost dysfunctional building for us. You're welcome to come walk through it. You'll see what I mean. It's useless other than as a repository for, yard equipment.
Mm.
To make it useful, we need to be able to have light upstairs. I could do what you just recommended, and we thought about it. And I can tell you, if I were up there, I'd want to have those things thrown open all the time. And I don't think it would look very good.
If I could just,
and I don't.
my only comment to that is in barns, they left those doors open all the time. I grew up on a farm with a hayloft, and the hayloft doors were open a lot of the time. So it's not inconsistent with the way this building would have been used.
I agree with Bill. I think that if they do open out and put a window behind, then you're preserving those doors. And I agree, you need ventilation in a hay barn. So the ventilation was there, and that's why the doors are there and open out. I mean, they're there to get the hay in, but they open out. So I think that'd be a much better, Lewis's suggestion is a much better way to go about it.
So Will, what comprises this? Is it a second story?
It is.
That center bit, and then there's the bit in the back, the shed shed
Correct.
dormer.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we've replacing the windows, placing the hayloft doors with the window, adding a carport. Additional questions from commissioners?
I wanted to get back to the windows again, which you probably
Sure.
knew I would at some point. I think we need more information on the windows. We need someone to take a look at them and tell us more about them. I shouldn't make an assumption they're original, but given the fact that this building, the kind of use it had over time, there would be no impetus to replace the windows for any particular reason. So I think you could restore these with a window restorer, and you could certainly put interior storms on them or matching storms in the outside and make these somewhat tight. But I hate to see original material destroyed.
And Dennis, that is if and only if these are original 1850s windows, I assume?
Yes.
Probably yes. Yeah. If
Okay.
they've been replaced along the line, then I wouldn't be so hung up about it.
Will, in case it's useful, I restored a house of the same era in Concord and took the advice of this committee, as it happens, to restore similarly degraded windows, and they turned out fabulously. It included both hardware problems and some of the wood rot. And there's several people who serve this area that do that work, and it's really quite impressive what they can restore.
Okay.
And I'm the king of internal storm windows, so
Um,
I'm a big fan.
You do a site.
I don't know I don't know what state the windows in the main house were, but with the support of this commission, we replaced all of those. And so my sense is that we're going to find that these are not special 1850s windows. They've never struck me as being that in all my time looking at them. But we should certainly figure that out. How can one of you come by and have a look with me, or how do we do that?
We could all take a look. And only because it might be that we'll probably continue this application, which would give us a chance to come take a look. Yeah, if that works for you. But sorry, Will, did I miss this earlier? Are you looking to replace the windows with the same dimensions?
Exactly.
Okay, I see. Yeah,
I'm not changing anything.
Yeah, I just couldn't tell if the red line kind of meant you were going to go out,
No, sorry. That's just highlighting,
okay, that's what I
calling
thought.
attention
Okay.
to what's being changed. Yeah.
Okay, so I think with the first story windows, it looks like we want to ascertain, kind of if they're original, kind of what their state is, which is pretty common practice for us with windows for actually almost every historic commission. They're a little window cautious, just so we know. And with the hayloft doors and window, it seems like there's a feeling among the commission to keep those hayloft doors somehow. Certainly we get that you want, light in there through a window. So, I mean, do those doors open still?
They do.
They do?
Yeah.
And there's nothing behind them right now. They just or there's no, are they
There's
well
a
lit?
landing. There's a landing behind them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's how you get to the
You know
shed?
what though? Yeah. God, now that I say that, I think they actually open in.
They open in.
Yeah, they do. Darn it.
Okay.
Can I just ask one question here too?
Yes.
Please.
Which is the top right on screen as it is now is showing the proposed replacement window, right?
Yes.
Right. So the
It's
light,
not, I should say, that is not the exact window. That is a,
that's fine. But
indicative.
the light, the glass proportion there, the size of it appears to be a little bit larger than the fill on the doors as they.
I agree with you, Walter. I agree with you.
So we haven't really established if replacing the wood fill on the existing doors, if that replacement in glass is going to be exactly the size of the gray on the building. Is that the intention?
That is the intention, yes.
Right. So the question of how much visual impact it will have to change that door / window. It's not that it's moot, but it's basically exchanging that gray inset in those doors for light allowing glass.
For glass, right.
So
Right.
there's no reason that the proportion of the size of the glass couldn't be exactly the same.
Yeah, let's assume we could match the glass to the wooden inset perfectly.
Well, I'm sure you can.
Yeah.
So I would just ask my
That's a good
fellow
way of looking at
commissioners
that.
if that softens
Yeah.
the potential blow of doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, sorry, does someone else have a comment about the hayloft door windows? And then there's the carport, which I think might be our toughest nut. While fully realizing that the Adamses want to get more use out of this building. But I don't see any past commission vote experience approving something like this as it is right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a thought is, you could consider, we're not supposed to be in the business of offering design suggestions, but
I'll take them.
but if there was a more of a pergola porch, Victorian style pergola porch, flat roof, very thin, with all the right details coming off, carefully designed, architect designed or whatever, that is a piece of trim and not a sloping carpet. It would still have to be you still roof it and have some pitch to it, but it'd be quite thin. and columns and the whole bit. Personally, I would consider something like that. It all depends on the detailing and the look, so that it doesn't detract. It's a different structure from the main building, but it could be attached, and it looks like a large side porch to this structure.
And it could pitch to the rear and still appear flat.
Or it could pitch the rear just very subtly, a quarter inch or a foot,
could
so
do
you hide the pitch in the pergola detailing.
Mhm.
So it looks like a flat roof, thin, covered, same width, but not a lean-to structure. I'm throwing this out to the commission and to the owner, I guess, Will, just that I think there is a potential architectural solution. It's just not this one, and it would have to be. Will, I don't know if you're an architect or not, so forgive me. But it'd have to be, yeah, it'd have to be very carefully designed to fit in with this building. But I think there is a very light, delicate, handsome solution that could be done.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Tim, to my eye, it's the horizontal strength of both sides of that trim board that you see facing the front.
Yeah, it's a horizontal.
Yeah,
This
that's
is sort of a
strong
vertical horizontal thing, and so you do it in that flavor and keep it light. And that I would have a hard time saying categorically you cannot put anything on the side of this thing. I think preferably not, but I think if it was done correctly, and held back the way Will has done it, I think there's possibility there.
Tim, I appreciate that. A question for you. I've just zoomed in a little bit here. If you, sorry, hang on one second here.
Oh, hi.
If you look in the upper right here, that is the front porch of the house.
Yeah.
It has a slight slope in it. From the front, it frankly looks probably like a flat roof. From the side, you can see there, it's probably got, I don't know, maybe 24 inches of pitch from back to front.
I think you could potentially take your cues from this front porch in some fashion. It's got brackets, it's horizontal. You may want to simplify it because everything is back a ways, but I think there's potential of taking the cues from this to create a.
We were trying to do that. I do think we've achieved more slope than we've got on the main house. But as you look at the upper right and the upper left, just, so I've got guidance to go back and work on. Would you have it appear horizontal? Yeah, looking at the carriage house, would you have the roof appear horizontal, or would you have it appear as the porch on the main house does if you're looking from the side, which is that it's got some slope?
Yeah. I would have to respectfully. This is digging into design options that architects need to study and look at, and I couldn't tell you. I think they're both possibilities. So it's a tricky. Whoever designs this, it's tricky little design problem, and I don't want to jump to saying one is better than the next.
Okay.
But I do think that there's some cues on the front porch that an architect could take and mess around with it and look at 2 or 3 different options and see what might work.
That's a good point, Tim, because Will, a couple of other commissioners, Bill Hewitt was talking earlier about sort of, pavilions of the 19th century, and, and Lewis was saying, there's perhaps a deft way to achieve what you want, but, as Kristen said, this is really kind of a mid-century look, the carport, and that's really, it's not that like, oh, you can't, have a carport, but it's just that element on this place, and sort of where it's visible. So, it's a little bit of back to the drawing board, I think, for this, but
Would, I'd appreciate just everybody's quick feedback here. Would it be, and Tim, I really appreciate that idea. Would it be a productive use of our time to go back and look at a couple of alternative designs in keeping with some of the ideas Tim had and bring them back? Or, and I respect if this is the answer, the idea is just more like dead on arrival and put your effort elsewhere. I just appreciate that straight feedback, because if it's worth the time to go look at it, we'll go do that.
I think the general consensus is that when you're looking at the building, it's so pure, it's so symmetrical. If you could do something that didn't disrupt the way it read from the street as being one structure, one symmetrical structure, then I think people would be more supportive. So if, as Tim was saying, if it was done in a way that was more horizontal and back so that it didn't scream mid-century modern with the slant, or even if you had something that might have been, I'm not sure if people said this at all, but what if it was a pavilion, Tim, that was sort of separate from the structure, so it didn't, something that's not going to distract from the structure's purity. You know, anything that's not going to distract from the.
No, I don't know. I can't remember if it was Bill or, well, somebody suggested the freestanding structure, which I would also say if it was done in a pergola style or porch style, but is separate, it's just disconnected. I know there's a dimensional issue and setback, but if it's freestanding, that would be even better, I suppose. Even if it's just a couple of feet off or a foot and a half off, and it's a hovering, simple structure that's of that era.
That was me. Just looking at it, I think, well, that it looks like that carport is drooping visually to me, and everything else is so wonderful about that building. It looks like, to me,
I see.
It looks like it's tacked on and kind of like the visitor center bench before. It looks like
It's sinking into the mulch.
So Will, were you
yeah.
wondering when you said, dead on arrival, were you wondering if that was like the carport, like the addition of a parking thing? Was that what you were asking?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. No, I don't. I mean, you've got the clearance for it, and I don't think there are any just immediate universal
Okay.
reasons, not for that. So anyone to add anything? But is that, and then with the windows, so the first story windows, you'll check out in terms of what their vintage seems to be. And then we have not really resolved the hayloft doors. We've anyone have?
Kate, sorry, Kate, before we go there, just to clarify, with the carport, and I regret the use of that word now because but nonetheless, with that structure, we will go away and come up with some alternative designs. Procedurally, what do I need to do? Do I come back to the next meeting with those?
If 3 weeks, so our next meeting is in 3 weeks, and
Right.
if you have time, if you think that's enough time, and you can determine in a week or two, or even at the time, if that hasn't been enough time, we
Sure.
just would move it on to, you'd let Anne and Kim know in the planning office, and they'd be like, okay, well, move you to the next one. I mean, this happens all the time. Ideally, if the commission thinks it's helpful, or if you think it's helpful, in 3 weeks, that morning of our next meeting, we could have a site visit, which you've had before at this house. So that drill, and that would be a very quick one. I don't know if we have to, we can also drive by in the meantime, but If you think, if, you know, a lot of times the owner thinks it's a good idea too, because we get a better context of,
Sure.
you know, they make a
Sure.
huge difference. So that would be in 3 weeks, assuming that works for you in that time.
Wednesday.
I think the time is no problem for us. Do you happen to know the date of that meeting?
Wednesday the 3rd.
December 3rd.
Wednesday, December 3rd. Okay.
It's almost, so, you know, there's Thanksgiving the week before.
Yeah, I think that would work well.
Okay.
And I could have Kevin O'Brien, who's our designer, there as well, and we could have some different things sketched up, and we could all just look. You know, whoever's able to attend, we could just look at it together.
So yeah, he could bring, you know, sketches then. They needn't even be ready much before that. You know, we can have sketches there that
Okay.
then he can submit to Anne that we can then review that night like we did tonight.
Okay.
And hopefully get some resolution that way.
Okay.
So
All right.
we can just continue the whole application if you feel like you've gotten enough feedback and things to mull over.
Well, so that's that piece.
Mm-hmm.
Taking them one at a time. The windows on the ground floor, I will look at them. I can have Kevin and my contractor look at them. Would somebody like to come by?
We can do that at the site visit.
Yeah, at the site visit, we'll just see them there.
And Bill could give you the names of the people he worked with, or Anne probably has some also, I think, at this point.
If historical, yeah, and great.
People who do this history work in restoration, right?
Is there any way of, I'm just thinking about, I'm starting a project and I'm going to have lead time for ordering windows, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, every 3 weeks matters. Is there any way to determine the historical, you know, is there if historical, then discuss again in 3 weeks. If deemed not historical by somebody, then approved and go forward with replacements?
So speak to Anne. She will speak to Bill. They'll recommend somebody who can take a look for you. You'll have a better, if I may, you'll have a better idea of what you're facing at that point. And then
Okay.
if the case is that they seem to be salvageable, they'll be salvageable. If they're not, at that point, you can put your horse in gear, or how's that for a mixed
Well,
and be ready to order. I would
Although we
think.
haven't seen the
no,
spec
we haven't
sheets
seen
on
them,
the-
Walter.
We need
That's
the spec sheets on the
We
replacement.
can't, yeah, we can't.
Yeah, okay, never mind.
I think that would be my suggestion is if you want to work in parallel, it's to get the manufacturing spec sheets on the Anderson that you would use in the event the windows aren't salvageable or historic.
Yeah, I'm not saying go ahead and order them. I'm
So
saying
no, in answer to your question, Will, that sometimes
Okay.
there are things that can be approved with administrative review.
Yep.
This isn't quite there yet. Like if, you know, these windows, in this case, we don't have quite enough to do that here.
Okay.
So like Bill says, you know, talk to somebody who can take a look at them, but in the meantime, line up what you would use in place. So at least you would have that information, you know, fully on hand at the time. of
Okay,
our
and
next
there-
meeting.
and
That's
there
really
you-
the best
you-
we can do.
You would ask for the detailed spec sheet that shows all
dimensions.
more than just Anderson Woodwright. You're looking for measurements and
Yeah,
Yep.
because the lights need to be the same width as what you're replacing.
So yeah, you know, it's kind of the
wood.
the proportion of
framing.
the glass to the muntins and, you know, whatever else is
Okay.
really makes a huge difference from the street, for sure.
Yep. Okay.
So that's
Those are
that.
the windows,
Hmm.
and then the hayloft.
And then the hayloft, we kind of, let's see, the hayloft doors you say open in. So it seems like consistently we would all love it. If, you know, they opened out and you could put a window, you know, inside of them and, you know, keep your hayloft doors, keep them open. But you're saying they open in, you're sure?
I'm pretty sure they open in.
Is there any way to reverse them?
I was just
Well,
gonna say
that-
the same
Yeah.
thing.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
If you gave me the choice between changing them so they swing out and maintaining that fabric over keeping them, changing them to glass. Personal view is that that would be an elegant solution to
Yeah.
swing out.
But
And
again, just to be clear, when you're talking about changing them to glass, you're talking about changing that inset. And
yeah,
because there are two. If you go in the screen that we have now, lower left is showing rectangular windows in place. So there's a disconnect between.
yeah, I didn't take that as the
windows.
design.
Right.
We're talking about, can you swing the doors out and have the windows inside?
No, I understand. I'm talking about even more basic. If you look down where F is
Yeah.
on the screen that's in front of us, that is a different design than that archtop window that I had asked about before.
It's not correctly drawn. So.
Correct.
So Will, could you, when you are, maybe that gets also when you're talking to your.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, Kate. You're right. I apologize for that drawing. I don't know who did that. That is incorrect.
Just
Well,
so
you
we're
had
not
an
internally
example
confused.
of the window you wanted to use. So
That's right. The example is correct. Yes.
that's what I figured.
Yep.
But it's good we clarified that. So when you talk to whomever about the I guess you'll be talking to your builder at some point, if you can about the first floor windows, can you inquire about changing the swing of the doors, the hayloft doors, and then I think we'll have a much easier time to seeing our way towards putting windows behind them.
Yes. Yes, I can do that, and then I suppose we can pick that up at the site visit. I still would contend it would look better, I think, if it were the window without the doors swung open all the time. But I also understand the historical context, and I imagine we could try to figure that out.
You do see them around town. I mean, there's not many that, but and I'll, now that I've said that, I'll keep my eyes open and try to think of the next one I see. But as Bill said, and a lot of times they're open all the time, and it's, kind of it's a function. We actually like things that are meant to look functional, rather than decorative. And so if they're open, they're proving their function.
It's a little tough because directly across the street is a huge carriage house with old hay loft doors that were obviously taken out at some point. There's a just massive window.
Yeah, it's funny you bring it up, Will, because I've been to that house and I know that house and I knew the people who lived there and the people I did years ago. And it was all I kept thinking about when you were talking about your windows was how terrible that house looks. One big sheet glass window.
It's true. It's so sad.
That's the worst example of what we don't want to see. You know what I mean? Something that's been.
I do, but you don't think this would become that?
No, I think you're doing a much more beautiful. It's a much better version of that, but it's on the spectrum of modernizing something.
Yep.
But I knew the way your proposal is as good as it can possibly be.
I appreciate that.
If you were to change those hayloft windows, do you know what I mean?
I do. Well, I feel like I've taken too much of your time, Kate. I appreciate you leading the conversation here. I think we have fairly clear next steps. Do I need to do
Ann for any ambiguity,
Okay.
Give Ann a call, who will either, has these notes, or she'll contact me and Tim, for kind of further whatever. But sorry, go on.
Great. And I will, shall I just plan on the morning of December 3rd, or do we need to formally set that up?
We
Or
formally
Kim
set
set
up
that
because
up?
we do announce it publicly. So Ann, is that okay? Or Kim? For December 3rd
Yes,
site
but
visit.
you all do need to take a vote for continuance.
Oh,
of it.
right. Thank you. It's been so long. Okay, so
I have one more thing to say, which is, Will, if you want to review any of this, there will be a recording.
Oh, yes.
if you want to
I noticed
relive
that
it
at the
all,
beginning.
yeah,
So
you can watch it every day between now and then.
Every day from now until then, but you can
Memorize it all.
Exactly what I'm going to
Go
do.
back to the
See, you can't
reference.
wait to get off this
Yeah.
call right now.
No.
Okay, so could I have a motion for 363 Main Street?
I
Bill,
move
you're,
that,
wait, Bill
we,
is muted.
oh,
Sorry. Okay,
Bill done?
Bill, you still muted?
I'm
Okay.
sorry, I have a lot of noise in the background here. I move we continue 363 Main Street and schedule a site visit for the morning of December 3.
And
Second,
a second. Thanks, Tim. Okay, for a vote, Walter,
Aye.
Melinda? Probably muted.
Aye.
Thank you. Tim,
aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and I'm an aye to continue. Thanks for your patience, Will, but this is what
Nope.
happens when we really, really like your general property.
I
Sorry.
appreciate that. Kate, may I say one last thing?
Sure.
On the topic of one of the earlier people who spoke, I forget her name, the woman who was speaking on behalf of the town of Concord and the bench.
Yes.
Amy.
I didn't feel
Amy
like it was
Green.
my place to speak up, but
Oh.
just a thought to consider.
Mm.
Having worked in businesses that work in the trades, I think what might commonly be done here, like I understand the need for a concrete pad.
Mm-hmm.
You might sink that pad, say 3 inches below ground level. It provides the support for the bench. You
Mm-hmm.
put simple L brackets on the bottom of the
Yep.
wood legs of the bench, but facing in so you don't see them. And then you can
Mhm.
cover that pad with a thin layer of dirt and mulch.
Yep.
And it looks totally natural, but it's supported. That's what I would do. I agree. I wouldn't want a big concrete pad for all the world to look at, but the pad's there provide support for the bench, and you can cover it. So I just
That's
wanted
the
to
solution.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And you know, you should have spoken up, even as an applicant. You can be
Well, I
member of the
didn't.
Or were you afraid of maybe it was going to color us? Like, you know, when you came up, we were like, there's the guy.
That's right.
All
Have a good night, everybody.
right.
Thank you
Thanks
very
a
much.
lot.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Will.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night. Okay. Other business. I'm sure Robert Drew would like us to pick up a couple of cases in between him presenting, but
I'm at home, so you can take your time if you want.
Okay.
I just had a
no,
coffee.
at long last, it is your time to shine, and ideally it'll take about 2 minutes because it's just certificate extensions. But we have 2 separate ones, or one with 2 separate issues, or
It's the same. It's the same
one
project, just 2
tentative.
separate under the same certificate. It says HVAC pen first, which falls under Tim. Do you want to do that? Go ahead first, Tim.
Robert, you go ahead, so you can drop
Okay.
off.
Okay, no worries. So good evening, guys. Nice to see you again. This is for the Concord Art project we've been working on. You've seen it a couple of times over the past 5 years or so.
Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry.
Go ahead. I'm
Robert, sorry about that. Yes. So just for good order's sake, there were 3 of us, 3 commissioners who are on this board, and we will step aside. That's myself, Tim, and Louis Caldarella. And so Dennis and Kristen, Walter, Bill, and Melinda are manning the ship. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Okay.
No worries. Seeing you from time to time at Concord Art. So, so our project construction has been moving along. During the process of construction, the general contractor raised an issue of the roof spec that we originally had. The color we had in the spec that you guys would previously approve is no longer has been discontinued. So we're coming back to you with a new spec, and it's a new spec in 2 ways: one, the color, and one, the type of shingle. Which you guys previously approved, the same company, but what was originally approved was a 3-tab shingle which was nickel gray. That's been discontinued. The new spec which we're proposing in front of you guys is pewter gray, similar in spirit, I've included product information in the memo I sent to you guys, but it's now an architectural shingle, which is now it's getting to be more and more common now. So and obviously architectural shingles has more shadow lines, a little different look to it. And while we're talking and doing some research on the spec, we noticed on the street, along the street, and obviously directly, I want to take the screen, guys. Sorry, I should have done the first time. Give me 1 second. There's a project or directly across the street to the left of the church, that's directly across from Concord Art, actually has architectural shingles. And then there's one couple houses down, it has architectural shingles. So it's something we've seen in the historic district. We're not asking for something very, very, very different, but it is a different look. But we're asking for approval on the color and the style. For what it's worth, and if I get back to the bottom end of this PDF, give me 1 second, guys. For what it's worth, the change for the location, it's really at the back of the project. The front main building, that roof is not being touched. We're asking for the change at the back connector and the new Art Barn construction that you see. If you've driven by lately, you can start seeing the shape of this. Sorry to come at you with a change. It's been a few years on this project. A lot of hard work by a lot of people, but some things get discontinued over time.
You don't happen to have a side-by-side comparison of what was approved versus what the new one is?
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Oh, there. Okay. So it's slightly lighter.
Yeah, it's the closest that in looking at the specs, it's the closest we can. And we want to make sure it's gray. We're not going to go to a different color. That answer your question?
Yes, thank you. I have no further questions on that.
So why might somebody object to the change?
I'm sorry, you asking me?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Mr. Drew, why might somebody object to the change?
Why someone might it would be it's a slightly different look because of the shadow lines. That's all. A 3 tab's more flatter, but I still think it's going to look pretty good. And I've also noticed it on other houses on the street, and like that yellow house across the street, that looks really nice. The house that's 2 doors down, I think it's a gray house, maybe 3 doors down as you head out of town. That roof looks pretty nice. So it's not like I've always liked in my life, in my my history, I always like shadow lines and differences and stuff like that. Nothing flat. I still think this proposed spec will look pretty good on the building, and also it's not on the main part of the building, which we've always tried to avoid touching. Keep that jewel the same and enhance what's around it. Sorry for the long answer.
No, that's fine. Is there another GAF product that you considered?
Yeah, we looked at all the other products. We're also trying to stay on cost and on budget. Because this is all a fundraise project. It's a little unique for instead of a typical residential project. And this is a good spec, which the contractors used before, the roofers has used before, and it's also matching the budget that's been approved by the Concord Art.
Okay.
A little bit of a balance between design and cost.
I'm good.
Thank you.
What's the other change?
The color. So it's going from 3 tab to architectural shingles, and then it was a change in color, which is slightly different than the.
Oh, I see what you're. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we move on to the next issue?
Yep.
That's Tim.
That was Dennis.
But now it's
No, Tim. The next piece of Concord Art. I'm sorry, guys.
We're gonna approve this all at once, I guess.
That's what I'd recommend, but I'm not running this.
Let's move. All right, that's fine. And can you switch to the little cover?
Sorry, did you want me to screen share?
Yeah, can you show the little mini split pipe?
Sure, just give.
Thank you.
And Dennis, are you chair in Kate's place?
No, that's my, no, because he's recused.
So is Dennis chairing?
We don't, I was just thinking. we
No,
do
I
not
think
have
Tim
a
is
chair.
chairing, right? Oh, that's right. You can't chair either.
Can't
Sorry.
chair.
I don't know who's
Right.
chairing. No
We
one
don't
asked.
have a chair at the
Good
moment.
leaderless,
chair.
oh my God.
I think Dennis should chair.
Yeah.
I second.
Okay. So let's move on to the next, item. Tim.
Just waiting for it to come up.
While we're waiting, it's coming along out there. I don't know if you've seen the volume or not.
Yeah.
It's looking good.
I thought you'd never get out of the foundation stage.
It was a little shoring issue, which took a little head scratching, a little engineering head scratching.
Okay, so the top elevation is what you see from the street. And you see the new barn and the gray in the back on the right. And there's an existing entrance, one-story existing entrance on the right as well, you'll see. The elevation down below is the right side, the east side, facing the neighbors. And we have a 4-foot fence right in the middle there that's screening mechanical equipment. Thank you. And in the process of all this, there's mini splits in the offices on the second and third floors that the system failed. And we're replacing those and getting all the mini splits on the inside of the exterior wall because the piping is a mess where it currently is. So we're trying to make it accessible. And we're collecting it all in one spot where that arrow points. So it comes out of the house just above the second floor line, and drops down to the mini split condenser unit, which will be behind that fence. And all the piping is contained, you've seen these, it's just contained in what basically looks like a downspout. It's a piece of PVC that snaps in place, it's smooth, and it'll be painted to match the white cover. So what's drawn there, those vertical lines, is actually very small. It's smaller than the corner board. So it's 3 inches deep and 6 inches wide, and you see about 4.5 feet of it above the fence.
Is
You
it
don't see
visible
it from
from
the
public way?
Well, so if you go to the next one, Ann, there's a tiny spot. So there's the bump. It's behind that bump. I'm standing right on the property line with the neighbor, so you can't see it standing here. It's below the window line upstairs. It's behind this bump. And there's just a little site plan.
Yeah.
So this is dotting the i's and crossing the t's here. Well, there's a site plan that I submitted, maybe one more. No, there's an image that, anyway, this is a very hard drawing. There it is, thank you. So this is, if you're standing I'm standing on the, just past the property line, and that's the sight line where you can't see anything to the left of that. You can't see this little bit of pipe, 4.5 feet of pipe. If you walk down to the neighbors and look through all this dense shrubbery, you can just barely see 4.5 feet of this vertical. So technically there's a little tiny spot where this thing is visible, but it's all behind that entry piece. And certainly anything in front of Concord Art and to the right of it, you never see it. But we just said, well, okay, if you were 60 or 80 feet away and no leaves and looking through the shrubs, you might see a tiny bit of this thing. But so we're just being thorough and putting in front of the HTC for thoroughness.
Thank you. Those are all the questions I
Thank
had.
you.
I have none.
You want a site walkthrough or?
Public comments, Dennis?
Yeah, public comments. I guess there's no other comments from you. I have no problems with this, but I don't know if anybody else does.
Nope.
Nope, I don't hear any.
Nope.
So there's a third piece, right?
Oh, that's it.
That's it.
That's it, just those 2 pieces?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, okay.
I'll
Not that we
move.
need,
I'll
Oops.
move that we approve both of these updates to the Concord Art project.
Great. Second,
Second.
all in favor? Let me
Roll
see.
call.
Let me go around. Kate, who's on this thing? I'm an
Uh,
I.
You,
I.
Melinda,
Melinda.
Aye.
Walter.
Kristen.
Aye.
Walter.
Aye.
And Bill, right?
Aye.
And
Is that it? I think that's it, right?
you covered it. Yep, you nailed it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. I have
Thanks
one
for
follow-up,
the-
one quick procedural question. Since this, thank you very much for the approval. Is there a grace period before we can do this? Or is this, we're good to go? Like, say if the roofer wants to do this next week as the cold's coming, is that okay? There's no like 30-day wait period or?
No, I don't
You're
think
good to
so.
go.
Oh, good to go? Okay. I'm
You're
just making sure, that's all. I figured I asked. Have a good holiday season, guys. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you, Robert.
We have mini splits for
Thank you.
our bedrooms in our barn, and they're all on the back. Those tubes coming down.
Yep.
Yeah.
They look like hell.
Yeah, they look like hell coming
Yeah,
down the back of the
hell.
barn. And my neighbor stopped, and they go off in various angles. My neighbor stopped me one day and said, "Who has contemporary art in her yard?" And she said she loved my modern installation.
That's you. Yeah.
And she was serious. She thought I'd put artwork on the back of the house.
Been waiting. All right, I think, thank you, Dennis, for covering for me and for everyone else for stepping up. I think that's it for other business. I'll just mention one quick thing. We have a vacancy still on HDC that we've trying to bring on someone new that Tim has discovered. Melinda and Dennis sadly roll off in January, so that will be 2 more vacancies. Anne has reached out to the nominating bodies, which, for those who aren't aware, is Natural Resources, the library, the museum, the select board, and the one I always forget. And sometimes they have candidates that they can suggest. But if anybody else knows of some decent people who you think might be good, let us know. It would be nice to have another, with Nia, we had a landscape designer. So someone, with more experience in the planted environment would be good. A lawyer would be good. A doctor, an acrobat. I mean, everyone brings something to the table. So just keep us in mind. It's my pitch.
Got it.
Okay, thank you.
Hey,
Now,
is it possible to put a note in the bridge somehow, or just? to say-
no, I wouldn't go that far. No, but thank you. No, and they do make an announcement at town meeting, so it does get publicized, but I don't think I would go the bridge route. I think, think about that. But
Okay.
we'll find them.
I know nothing.
Okay. If no one has anything else, thanks all for turning up tonight, and did not see this meeting going 2 hours and 20 minutes, but so it did. Thanks for all your work. And could we have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
In a second.
Second.
Aye.
Everyone's seconding. And all in favor, just raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thanks a lot, everyone. Good night
Aye.
and have.
Good night.
Thank you.